Hi, welcome to Body of Work, where we discuss rap albums and topics regarding rappers. Today's topic: Back on Death Row, new Snoop album, and it's all full circle. Let's get into it. Now, if you're familiar with my Super Bowl video, then you know that I said that 2022 is the year of Snoop. And one of the other ways that this proves that is this new album that he released, Back on Death Row, a little bit before the Super Bowl performance that he did with Dr. Dre and other artists. Track one is Still Smoking. Basically, Snoop letting you know that he's still hot and he's still got time in the game, but at the same time, letting you know that things are going to be run differently, especially with the past that Death Row has had. But now, under his tutelage, they LLC'd up and ready to take the game by storm and be run the way it was meant to be run, had they had this vision back then. Gunsmoke is definitely a track that it's kind of borderline for me. Sometimes it feels like a filler, and then other times it just feels like it's okay and you could play through it. But it's not a track that I have much to say about. It's okay and I get the premise of it. But I mean, if you're not like a big Snoop fan, I could see a lot of people skipping this that don't really listen to Snoop like that. Yeah, man, if you asked me 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that Snoop would have Death Row in his hands, I would have told you you're crazy. But here we are now, and it's amazing to see this happening. And he's definitely telling you in this track that good things are on the horizon for that record label. Sandwich Bag is one of those tracks that you see on every album, definitely depicting things about money. But it's kind of clever in the way that they're talking about sandwich bags. And he did take the time to mention that Harry O is no longer a part of Death Row, even though he was one of the founders of Death Row. But he's still showing you that he's doing the right thing by letting you know that he has a sandwich bag. Another way of saying he has money for him. Conflicted is the best track on this album. It's crazy how we've never seen Snoop and Nas really do a track with each other. But you got him on the chorus in this, and I love how they're playing off each other. And Snoop is definitely dropping lines. Oh my goodness. I never knew we needed this, but I would like to see more of this in the future. Definitely the best track. This needs to be a single immediately. I'm not your father, I'm your daddy, bitch. And this track is so self-explanatory. Snoop has always had these pimpish ass tracks on his album, but this to have emo trap on this for the chorus, this is surprisingly a good track. And I never thought he would do a track like this, because it's kind of like new age a little bit, but at the same time, it's really enjoyable. Doggy Stylin' is definitely a track that's like a love letter to anybody who's been a Snoop fan or who enjoys listening to Snoop, because it takes you back to Doggy Style, but it's a 2022 version of it. And a lot of the lyrics on this is self-explanatory. Snoop is winning. In other words, he's fucking the world, doggy style. Crip Your Enthusiasm is a track that I have no idea how the hell it works, but it does. It definitely sampled the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme, flipped it in a way that made Snoop able to make it into something it shouldn't be. But for some reason, I catch myself listening to this track, and to be honest with you, it's one of the tracks I won't skip anyway. And I'm not even a gang member. But this track is definitely mad clever. Especially the way that Snoop is just laying down his lines. Gotta Keep Pushing On is definitely a track that really pushes the mentality of no matter what hardship you go through, you gotta keep moving on getting to the goal as quickly as possible. And I definitely see if Snoop quit at any moment, he would have never been in the position that he's in right now to be the owner of Death Row. Also, T.I. is on this track. House I Built is one of those tracks that I'm taking it in two different ways. One meaning that Death Row was kind of built on the backs of people like Snoop and Dr. Dre, and to a lesser degree Tupac, because you know he was only on there for 1 year. But people like Snoop, who was carrying the torch for Death Row, he's one of the reasons why that label was hot for the time that it was. And it feels so good that now it's in his hands and he can do whatever he wants with it. And the other way I'm taking it is that he's also teaching a lot of people about wealth. I always love when rappers teach people about wealth, because we definitely need that in our communities. Outside the Box is definitely self-explanatory. When it comes to dealing with adversity and dealing with situations, you gotta think outside the box. And another reason I like this track is it's one of the last times we'll actually get to hear Nate Dogg. And it's sad that to know that he's gone, and he didn't live to see Snoop Dogg actually get this label in his hands. Jersey in the Rafters is one of my favorite tracks on this album. It definitely features Game, and it's one of the hot songs that you would definitely go back to. Like, I don't know what it is about this album, but the back end of this album is a lot stronger than the beginning. The track Pop Pop, whew, that is definitely one of the unexpected bangers. I couldn't imagine him doing a song with DaBaby, but DaBaby, yo, he is one of those rappers that I'm surprised people sleep on and don't look at him, especially in the north over here, the northeast. DaBaby, I'm gonna give a bold take. DaBaby is hotter than a lot of people think, and we need to start paying attention to him. Other than that, yo, this is a good track. Like, you already know I gave it a 5. Catch a Vibe is one of those tracks in the back end of this album that I definitely give a high score to. It's just, there's something about this album being so smooth that I just can't escape it. And it's I've always felt like this about Snoop. Just hearing his voice, it's enjoyable to listen to a lot of his albums, even if you're not expecting like big time lyrics. But he definitely does give you lyrics in these songs. But his voice is like really selling this album for me, in my opinion. It's in the Air is another track that has another surprising feature, Uncle Murder. And I don't know what it is, but I don't think I've ever seen a Snoop album like this, where he has features with a lot of people that I would have never expected him to do music with. But here we are now, and this is a very decent track to listen to. As a matter of fact, not decent. This is a great track to listen to. I mean, I know it's a hard track, but at the same time, the end of the track, you realize that they're talking about love is in the air. We Don't Need to Worry is Snoop letting you know that there's no more worries anymore, especially with the things that he's doing with his life, his endorsements. He's living his best life, and I keep saying it. I'm gonna keep saying it. 2022 is the year of Snoop, and he really don't have to worry no more, just like the chorus says. The song Get This Dick should be pretty much self-explanatory to anybody who's listening. It's a typical track that you already know what they're talking about. The subject matter is definitely something that we've seen in a lot of Snoop albums in the past. Especially with Lil Duval in this track, you already know what shenanigans they're getting into. Now I know a lot of you guys are gonna be like, yo, Cliff, you gave Snoopy Don't Go a 5. Yes, I gave it a 5. This track is very enjoyable, yo. This is one of my favorite tracks on this album. And if you're familiar with Biggie and Life After Death, there was a track called Play a Hater, and this is very similar to it. This track is a track I could see myself going back to over and over again. Especially with the end, with the little skit, where he reversed what Suge Knight once said, encouraging people to come to death row, was definitely like the cherry on the top for the end of this track. I gotta say that this album is very enjoyable to listen to, and I very much intend to get a physical copy of this as soon as it become available to us. Because you know I love my physical copies, you know. But yeah, it's so smooth. It's crazy that Snoop Dogg has this type of longevity to keep going like this. I wonder if we're gonna get another album from him anytime soon, but you know, let me stop being greedy though. If you like this video, please like, comment, and share. And I'll see you on the next episode of Body of Work. Take care and enjoy.